Hello, it's me again, der Bayer, and we have arrived in Bremgarten, Switzerland for the penultimate race of the 1953 season. I'm looking very good in the class and overall championships, leading both, and I'm trying to secure my position in this race, which will be quite a challenge. This version of the track is not as nice as the Assetto Corsa version you might know. We have a very steep drop at the beginning of the lap, which can be overcome by just jumping it. Many of us will do that, but this of course is risky, and for me especially, wheels will come off if I take it too fast. Other cars take it a bit better. We'll see how it goes. The goal for this race is to stay ahead of Bremgarten, who is my main contestant both overall and in class. But staying ahead of Rees is probably not enough. I also have to see if Tom D in the Lancia for the overall championship and Darren Andrews in the Mercedes for class championship do not finish too well, because as soon as they get bonus points for a top 5 finish, they might still be a threat for my championship hopes. Qualifying went okay. I qualified in 9th, Darren Andrews in 7th, so right ahead of me, and Bremgarten in 11th, right behind me. So my goal was to have a good start as always, try to be ahead of as many people as possible through the first jump to minimize the risk and to make sure that I finish this race. So let's get right into it. Second gear start, as always, where there's low grip. I had a really good start and was able to jump Darren Andrews. Bit of a close situation there with De Vries into the jump. Again, minimizing risk. I'm stepping back, no heroics into the jump. So that was a really good situation now for the start of the race. I was ahead of Darren. My goal was to keep him behind as long as possible. Maybe cost him a bit of time without actively holding him up, because the more time the others gain, the harder it will be for him to catch them again, and the harder it will be for him to get any bonus points. So, as I said, try to stay ahead, try to push, try to not make any mistakes, and then see how long it takes until he gets me. My car was pretty good down this twisty section here, but the worst part was in the latter half of the lap. Starting with this big rock on the inside, up the hill. This is where the Mercedes and all of the big 3-liter plus cars really played out their engine and power advantage. At this part of the race I already lost track of where Rees was, but as long as he's not visible on my list on the right, then I knew I was in a good situation. Regarding fuel and race strategy, this was a fairly straightforward race. We had no additional fuel multipliers or anything, so it was just filling the car up enough for a roughly 19-minute race. My car needed around 3/4 of a tank for that duration, so no pit stops needed, and it's just about bringing it home. In this forest section, Darren was really challenging me with his powerful Mercedes, but I must say thanks to him for his patience with me and my small and slow car. He didn't try anything stupid there, and really waited for his opportunities to pass me safely. Yeah, because I had less power, I had an easier time coming out of the cobbled hairpin here at the end of the lap. But what also helped me was that I just did the hairpin in 3rd gear instead of 2nd. This was my mechanical traction control, and it worked out really well, so I was ahead of Darren just enough so that he couldn't get me at the end of the straight. So I survived the first lap, a big relief already. Also in the second lap there's nothing, no debris in the jump, so let's see how it goes. So here is one of the situations where Darren was extra cautious to pass me. So yeah, again, thanks. I tried to make my Gordini as wide as possible without driving in front of his nose. I think there was room to pass me. I left the space, but yeah, thanks again for staying behind. After 5.5 laps, it was time to let him go. There was just no way fighting him. So I tried to maybe profit a bit by trying to stay in his slipstream. Maybe even try to make a bit of pressure, see if he makes a smaller mistake. But it already was pretty clear that the Mercedes was very, very fast. Big sideways moment there for Darren. It was clear that it was very fast on the straights and it would be hard to keep up. Yellow flag as we arrived in the hairpin. We saw a stalled Jaguar there, which just rejoined as we passed him. This was Rory McDuff, the second race for him in the Jaguar team. And this is how it happened. Lapping a Aston Martin, and then Rory ran into Tom D, spun him, and then stalled while waiting for him to make room. And it took a very long time for him to restart the engine and to rejoin the race. Yeah, that was a quick one. Hoped to be able to follow Darren for a little bit longer, but unfortunately he just lost concentration for one corner, went in too fast and lost the car in the grass. I'm so sorry for you again, Darren. Maybe next time just stay behind me. If you take a look at the rest of the season, you never crashed when you were behind me, so maybe just stay there. Then let's take a look back at lap 2. Something I wasn't aware of was that Reese already spun on lap 2, lost a lot of time, a lot of positions, and then while pushing to recover he lost it one lap before Darren crashed. I didn't know about this because he stayed on the server and the game didn't tell me that he crashed. Yeah, also unfortunate thing, just missed the apex by a meter or two and that's his race over. And if you then wait a bit, then you see that Frank is approaching in the other Aston Martin and crashing, avoiding the wreckage. Frank continued for half a lap trying to bring it back to the pits, but then lost it and crashed into a marshal's post as the bent car just was uncontrollable, I think. So at this point, Mark Johnson and I were the only 3-liter cars running, but I didn't know that, so I probably pushed harder than I needed to. Then Rory came back at me. There was no reason to defend, he was just so much quicker, so I also lifted a bit to let him pass before the kink. Then Rob De Vries and Rory McDuff had a little coming together after Rob clipped the inside wall at the jump and then got thrown back to the track. Rory had nowhere to go, 2 cars out of the race, 2 positions gained for me. So at this point I was already in P6. But it was not over yet. Another driver lost it at the corner where Darren has died. So this time it was Robin De Vos crashing out from a very good position and giving me another place. Up to P5 it is. And what would be a race without Peter? Peter seems to be always in my vicinity. It was in Monaco, it was in Spa. Here again, he had the faster car on the straights. I was a bit quicker than him during the twisty stuff. I could have fought him a bit harder, but with the DNF of Darren, I didn't want to risk anything. After Peter's mistake, I still managed to get ahead of him again, but didn't intend to keep him there if he tried to come back at me. But what was interesting as we were approaching the pit lane was that Tom Lee was in the pits, so that meant he was out of the top spots for the race, which would mean he is out of the overall championship race. And this is what happened. Again, it is the nasty jump. Again, like his teammate, he clipped the inside wall. And somebody else seems to have died just before him. Luckily, everything stayed attached to the car. But yeah, he decided to pit as the car probably was undrivable. And of course, not a race without a mistake. I tried to follow Peter just a bit too much and went into the hairpin too quickly. The car was just understeering and going straight. I clipped the titanium hay bales, damaged the car. Fortunately, it was alright. But after that, I lost confidence and really slowed down. Then Ludwig arrived, first race in the HSO for the Lancia team. I knew at this point that Reese was out as well. Tom was back in 9th, Darren was out, so I said to me, I don't need that extra bonus point for P5, and just let him go. And like in Monaco, I saw that the leader was approaching. I was going really slowly at the end. I saw that Nico in the Lagonda had a mighty day and tried to get a photo finish with him. So at least to be on the winner's photo. So Nico wins, Easy in 2nd, Niklas in 3rd, Peter in 4th and Ludwig in 5th. These 5 take the bonus points. I take the class win in 3 liter. and the other class winners are Erwan in the 2 liter and Jonathan D in the 1.5 liter. In the Gold Star I now have a gap of 15 points to Rees. That means he needs to win Monza overall in the Aston Martin, which is highly unlikely. If he does, and I do not score more than 9 points because of drop results rule, he will take the championship because of more overall wins. In the Silver Star, the class championship, I'm only 12 points ahead. Again, here, if I do not manage to get more than 9 points, Rees needs at least 12, which is a class win and P4 overall. Unlikely, but let's see what he can do. Yeah, from a results perspective, a very excellent race. I'm still sad for all the others who have crashed. Maybe more luck next time, but so far I am off. Thank you all for watching and have a great time.